Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Mind Muscles podcast. Today, we have a special guest. He's not only a life coach, he's a life coach and a fitness coach as well. Mr. Hamad Al Saad from Bahrain. Welcome to our podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, man. Looking forward for this conversation.
So, Mr. Hamad, first of all, I was going through your Instagram page, and I've seen your story, and that was for me. I was looking for something, so I can get to know you more. It was very inspiring. Personally, I didn't go through any transformation. I was always, alhamdulillah, yani, in a good shape. In fact, I was the other way around. I was always very thin, and then started little bit. I didn't gain weight. I think I didn't go more than 75 in my life.
Okay.
But your story was, for me, someone who was overweight and then lost weight and then became a coach. That is wow, mashallah. So tell us a little bit about that.
Okay.
How was the journey?
I'll start with going little bit behind as well before that incident. So as a kid, I was growing up. I had a really bad asthma, which made me not play sports. Made me, just see other kids playing around, and I couldn't do much because eventually I used to suffocate every time I do any kind of exercises. Believe it or not, even though I used to have the oxygen all over me, and there are months where I remember growing up, I had to be admitted to the hospital for a whole month as well, just for checking my heart rate, checking my lungs and everything related to this aspect. When I hit my teenage years, this is where I was I got to the point where I couldn't see myself like this anymore, right? So what I did is I started exercising a little bit. I used to play around with the kids in the neighborhood. I started joining, I used to play football, but I used to be a goalkeeper, just so that I don't move much, or I used to be in the defense. I was fond of basketball. So little by little, I pushed myself one step at a time, and believe it or not, it gone away. And that by itself made a traumatic, realization to me that, what, sports actually made me become better. Whereas everyone was just injecting medicine and, telling me, take the inhaler and the oxygen mask, just all these matters that kind of associated with the asthma. So that was the start of my, my sports and activity journey. And with that being said, I was always in a good range. I was always active. Fast forward, I graduate. I was supposed to go study abroad. That didn't happen, but that by itself was left a bit of a scar on me, because I was really expecting that leaving. I had a scholarship and I was, just aiming to go study abroad. But that didn't happen. And what happened is, I didn't know this about me, but I'm an emotional eater. This is where I started, I found a job, I joined university in Bahrain, and I started eating my life away. I stopped being active, I stopped, just exercising. And this is where all the weight came from. So this was the first part of the journey where I gained so much weight. And, there was an incident where I realized what I was doing to myself. And that's where I kind of, said enough is enough. And this is where it reminded me of how activity actually saved my life back then. And this is where I actually jumped into taking better care of myself. And around 2011, I was in the best shape of my life.
So what made you actually I understand the reason why for the first transformation,
Yeah.
which was an emotional event of your life. What
Yes.
changed it around? What came in later on that made you decide that okay,
Yeah.
enough is enough. I don't want to be like this anymore. I want to change. What happened? I'm curious about that.
Masood, there's a lot of layers, to be honest, regarding to this. So sit back and just be patient with me because my life was a bit of a roller coaster, and eventually I I yo-yoed when it came to my weight. So at 2011, I was in the best shape of my life. Six pack, ripped as hell. People were like, what kind of steroids are you on? They didn't believe that that was real. So, but back then, people weren't so aware of beach bodies and physique. They only knew bodybuilders. So even though I was in a very good shape, people were like, you know what, Hamad, you call yourself a bodybuilder, and that kind of, ignited the ego inside of me, and I wanted to become bigger. So around 2013, I went on this dirty bulking phase where I gained literally around 30 kgs in about 2 months and a half. In my mind, I thought I was like, I'm big now, you know?
Wow.
And yeah, it wasn't very pleasing. I was pleasant. I was barely even able to move, breathe. Sleeping was a mess. So, but the only thing I was happy about, I was able to carry massive weights, so that's the thing that's a kind of but at the end of the day, I got into the realization like, you know what, no, this is not for me. So it took me about a year, and that's when I kind of dropped and I was bigger, leaner, and like more ripped and more definition because now I have better muscle mass. So right at that point, around end of 2014, I did an operation that went bad, and that kind of got me in the same pattern where I was bed rested for about 6 months, and I ate my emotions away. I gained so much weight again, and one thing led to another. Like fast forward, I recently only decided on pursuing personal training, and with it, I kind of taught myself, and this is what I'm doing for myself. Literally being active and learning how to function my body and learning the functionality of my body for myself because I'm aiming for longevity. The minute I shifted my mindset around how I train and why do I train, that by itself made a huge impact on my life. And I knew that this is what I want for people.
I have a question for you. I'm actually, this is for me, it's always a big question mark. And the question is, when you talk about, and I need your expertise in this because you're a fitness coach as well. When you talk about being healthy
Yeah.
and being fit, all what you can think about, or all what people can think about, is a ripped body with the six packs with the big muscles. Um, for some reason, my input into that, I don't see that as an ultimate goal
Yeah.
because um, that is that for me it's a stereotype. I can be healthy without having six packs, without being so bulky, without having a lot of muscles. Yeah, muscles are important, but I have to understand my body. Um, what is your input about that from your fitness experience?
Okay. Just to clarify one more thing. So I'm certified food psychologist. I'm a health coach, a nutritionist, life coach, as you mentioned, and I've also educated myself or certified myself with a couple of mental health modalities to get where I am today. to be honest, because what health to me is, first of all, health is at any size, at any shape, at any form. When we define health, it's how you be able to support yourself mentally and physically so that you get to a point where your body is without disease and dis-ease. So like these two factors contribute in affecting your health. So if you are well-rounded around how you take better care of yourself as a whole, you achieve a wholesome living and a healthier lifestyle. And that's when you can call yourself healthy, or you own your health basically. So this is my kind of nugget of wisdom regarding this matter. Why do I say that? It's because there's a lot of people that you might see them in a very good physique, but with a messed up mentality. You could see someone who is maybe not in the standard what people call fit or healthy, but they're living the best life and their body has no kind of diseases, so good for them, right? So we as a society kind of labeled and defined standards of health and how a body should look like and how a lifestyle should be. And this is where we try to fit ourselves in these boxes, which kind of puts a lot of pressure on us and messes our health because we don't fit these boxes. So health should be based on what makes sense to you, what fits your goals and your needs, to be honest, and what makes you feel at peace.
Where am I coming from, Coach, is I I believe you should have a life purpose before you decide um, what is health for you,
Okay.
right? The problem happens when people misunderstand what is health and how to be healthy, um, associating health with the visual, especially now that you see all the movie stars with nice bodies. So all what people want is, especially now, even now, the trend for the last, I think, 5, 6, 7 years, um, for the girls as well. It was guys earlier, but now I can see that it's also coming up very strongly with the girls as well. So the visual plays a big role here, and what we perceive as a goal might not always be true, right? Because if my goal is always to be uh, in a good shape, um, not only physically, also the way people see me, sometimes it might result into me going not into the correct direction, especially if I need quick results. You know? You mentioned something very important that clicked with me when you were talking about your early life. You said, I started sport, enjoying it step by step. Without me feeling it, I was in a good shape already. So it's more about consistency on a longer term than just um, wanting quick results and doing whatever it takes to get that quick results. And I think quick results will always have more negative effect than the positive way, right?
100%.
Uh,
Yeah.
because think about it naturally, if you want to, for example, build muscles, it takes an X amount of time to build the bigger muscles, where you can use um, different ways. I don't want to say the ways, so I don't want to promote them. You can use different ways, and you've been in this industry, so you understand different ways to increase their muscle mass and look nice in just few months, right?
100%. Yeah.
And you can go even with that route, you can go healthy way, but it will still take a longer time, right?
True.
um so that is where my coming from. It's educating people that being healthy is not all about what we heard or what we see, or a ripped body or six pack or bigger things. It's just about me fulfilling my purpose. If I feel good
100%.
about my body, I'm eating healthy, eating clean, I'm doing um, an exercise that fits my lifestyle, I think I'm healthy. I'm healthy enough, right? What do you think about
True.
that?
No, 100%, man. Because more or less, what defines health for you shouldn't be the same as well any the definition that I might come up with as well. So more or less, this is where I kind of when I work with people, I want to make sure that it's very individualized, and this is based on their needs, and not the external understanding of health to them.
Yeah.
So when I sit down, let's say with Masood right now, and I'd be like, okay, Masood, could you tell me some of the challenges that you might be facing, that's stopping you from being healthy? And more or less, you're telling me my body's functioning the best way possible. I'm not facing any kind of illnesses, alhamdulillah. I'm sleeping well, eating well, and training well. And when it comes to my flexibility and range of motion, my body's functioning the best way possible. Okay, so for me, assisting you, you're actually a healthy person, but you thinking about, no, I'm not, because you are associating health and associating yourself and comparing it to someone else right now, that you're not happy with your own self right now. The thing is, we need to understand that once you are in a position where you are happy with your body image, and you have a good relationship with that, eventually you can mold your body to whatever you want it to be. But again, each and every body is different. We need to understand that we come with certain limitations. Some bodies would shape up in a certain way, some doesn't. It doesn't mean that you are not as gifted or you're not as good. You set your own standards, and with it, you have to accept your own capabilities that you put into that molding that would get you to the best shape that your body is fit to be, not what you force it to be. So this is like how I see it, like we keep beating ourselves in shape. We keep beating ourselves in shape, and this is wrong, because as you mentioned, this by itself is putting a lot of pressure, and you are exhausting your resources, you're exhausting your body to the point that you're breaking yourself. So how is that happy, and how is that healthy?
I believe it's mindset as well, right? If you have
100%.
if you have
It's
the
all in
right
the mindset.
mindset, um, um, the body health will follow. If you
Yes.
have the right attitude, if you have the right um, behavior, and you are consistent with them, I think everything else will follow, right?
It
Um,
will, man, definitely. Because like if think about it as like if you know where your destination is,
mhm.
you will understand which path or journey you're going to go to. But if you are just randomly doing it just like that and be like, oh, I want to get somewhere, you go into the car, but you're not moving, you're not doing anything. So having that mindset and to achieving or a clear idea of where you want to be, it makes it so much easier, and you could reverse engineer it in a way that it kind of suits yourself by putting a good time frame, defining the resources, and eventually the things that are needed to get to that destination much easier.
Yeah. And I think if that's a very important point to actually define what is the end goal. What do I want from this, right? For example, a person like me, um, who is I'm doing a sport for my own health. I'm doing a sport so I can enjoy the games that I love. Enjoy, for example, I play football, I play volleyball, I play paddle, and I want to enjoy these games, and I have a good fitness to finish the games in a good shape and just go home happy without feeling a body ache. My goal will be completely different from someone who wants to run a marathon in a couple of months, right?
100%.
Um, my mindset will be completely different than them. My mindset is if I can do this exercise, good. If I can't, I'm fine. My body needs rest. I'm okay. But his mindset will be I have to do this and I need to do this time because I want to compete in 1, 2, 3, 4.
صح.
So
Yeah.
defining that goal, why are you even going to gym? You know, and sorry, I might cross some lines here, but in my mind, the way gyms are selling their products is a complete myth.
It's a selling
Right?
strategy. Yeah.
It's a strategy to get more. It's more
Customers.
business
Yeah.
than actually benefiting the people, right? Because people go to gym, 1 year subscription, and then they show up for a week, and then because they're going alone, there's no motivation, there's no end goal, they don't know what they want to do. Eventually, they will end up just leaving it. Instead, I've seen a lot of difference if someone is getting into a gym um, with a fitness coach with a clear goals. You will see them not only completing that 1 year, they will take another year and another year, and their life will shift. Because if you don't know what do you want, find an expert who can help you find out what you want, right? If you're going to gym and okay, I want to be healthy, I'm going to gym, but I don't know why I'm going to gym, what I want to achieve. Find an expert, right? Go hire a coach.
100%. Yeah.
Coach will help
I
you define the goal, will help you with the plan, and will help you understand why do you want to do this, right? But if you
look
don't
in
have all this and you're not ready to go and ask an expert person, then just please don't waste your money, right?
don't worry, waste your money. 100%, Masood. Thank you to raise that this kind of perspective, because more or less when it comes to even the well-being industry and the health industry, always remember, if you are better, your customer lost. Like basically they lost a customer, right? So that's why they always give you this myth, like you're gonna do this and you're gonna do that, and they'll give you this idea of, what, if you put this much effort and you buy supplements and you wear these clothes and you do this and you do that, eventually you will get to that. And they kind of upsell, and at the end of the day, they know, like, this person that they try to sell you, the dream that they're going to sell you is crafted. They use all the things that you talked about, like you didn't want to talk about. They use all the enhancements and all the illegal matters to get them to this shape, and eventually, and they're trying to sell you the dream kind of thing, right? And that's why it's really important to understanding what we want, and eventually it will define how we want to get there. And you mentioned that utilizing an expert would redefine your definition to make it easier, more structured, and give you a proper action plan. This is our job. A coach, a mentor, a teacher, a supervisor, we have different names, because in every industry where you go, there's always someone you learn from. Because a lot of people don't like the term coach or mentor or personal trainer whatsoever, but we learn our whole life. We had teachers, right? And then we go have professors in university, and then you go to jobs, and we have supervisors and trainers and whoever that is going to teach us. We always had that someone who guides us. So in life, in any undeveloped area that you have no expertise in, or you lack expertise, it's always well advised to get someone who will help you with that. 100%, because eventually they will help you find a more suitable manner that suits you and will help you eventually get to your goal. I'm not preaching into one of the it's a very demanding sport. It needs a lot of effort. And if you don't enjoy it, it's not for you, no matter even if you have a personal trainer. This is why I encourage people, find something, as you mentioned, something that you love. You love playing football, you like playing volleyball, paddle. You mentioned all this because you enjoy it. And the purpose is, if you're not competing in any competitions, and you are only going to the gym for your own well-being, then find something that you love. Bicycle, Zumba classes, like if you want to do recreational group or recreational sports or kind of activities or group training, find something that you enjoy so that you keep continuously doing it. You mentioned constancy is the key, but you wouldn't be constant if you don't like what you're doing. So at the simplest way or simplest manner, if I would tell you what would help you get to the goal of managing your weight, losing or gaining, find something that you love.
I'll share a small story before we close here, and this is from my own personal experience. Why I talked about getting an expert. I was trying to build my business for so many years, and for so many years as well, I tried to do everything by myself. So I tried to do my website by my own. I tried to manage my social media by my own, doing marketing by my own. Um, so it's been a roller coaster, and I always get a mediocre kind of results. And that for me, that's now that I'm looking at it, it's very, very obvious because I'm not an expert. I might learn few things from YouTube, from there, from here, but I'm not an expert. It will take me a week to do something that an expert can do in 2 hours.
True.
And I can see the difference now because I have finally decided that, you know what, let me spend little more money, but let me give it to the experts. If I want to build a business, I'm not a businessman. Let me find someone who guides businessmen to lead their businesses. So I went and I hired a coach who's helping me to build my business because I'm not an expert in building business. Social media. I'm not an expert in social media. So I actually went and gave it to a team who has a copywriter, who was a designer, who was an IT guy, designing the website, and they do it just like this. I just need to spend a couple of hours a week, review what they're doing, give my okay, and it gave me a lot of more time to do what I'm good, what I love to do. I love meeting people.
100%,
I
yeah.
love coaching. I love talking to people. I love doing a podcast. I love creating events. So I found a lot of time to do what I'm good at,
What you love. Nice.
instead of wasting my energy on things that I have no clue how to do them.
Yeah.
So this is from my own experience. And for people, and I'm saying this again, find an expert. If you want to go to the gym, like you said, if you want to learn a new game, just find someone who knows the game and who can teach you, right? Uh, because they've been there, they know it all, and they you can learn it just like that.
100%, Masoud. One of the main things that I will always recommend, because I can't tell people what to do and what not to do, right? But remember that working with an expert is that person has done the due diligence on your behalf. What this person did is put in immense amount of hours to find better ways to accelerate your needs, for you to get your needs, basically. So eventually, as you mentioned, as a human being, we know that we have certain skills in everywhere and we could develop them. But it comes down to you. Either you put time or pay for that time, and hire someone to do it. So more or less, this is where it comes down to your needs. So that's why I don't like encouraging people, go and work with someone. If you can do it by yourself, alhamdulillah, like I'm happy for you. But if you are doing it in a way that is, you're hurting yourself, you're wasting so much time, and you're not happy with the results, and thinking that eventually things would change by time, they would, but it'll take so much time with so much failures and learning curves and whatnot. But why can't you save all that time, work with someone who will make your life so much easier, gain as much as you can from that person, don't depend on them, but learn from them as much as you can, and implement it step by yourself until you feel comfortable, just moving forward by yourself. As simple as, I call this basically the bicycle effect. When we learn how to ride a bike, we use these supporters at first, and eventually they remove it, but you have someone holding it first until you learn how to ride a bike by yourself. As simple as that. We are that supporters. We are that person who's holding you until you do it by yourself.
Awesome, awesome. Coach Hamad, first, I want to thank you so much. You jumped in so quickly. We gave you such a short notice. And I think you jumped in without knowing what's going on. So thank you so much for that. And thank you
Most
for the
welcome.
information. I really enjoyed this session with you.
Likewise, my
And
brother.
like what we were saying, if you start talking about a subject that you like, you cannot stop talking about it. But for sake of time, um, we have to end it here. And I hope people who are listening to us, they get, even if they got 1% of what we are saying, and we can change one person's life, that's an achievement for me.
Alhamdulillah. Yeah.
So thank you so much, and inshallah, I wish to see you in next episodes, inshallah.
Inshallah, man. Thank you so much for having me, and I really enjoy this talk. And as you mentioned, just we're here to support. So please reach out to us, and we aim to make your lives better. So thank you once again for what you do, and thank you for having me once again.
Thank you, Coach Hamad, and have a lovely day.
You too, my dear. God bless.